The 4A women ready for a championship showdown in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Pleasure to have you with us in the Triad region as the Old North State crowns champion after champion on this Friday. The Golden Tornadoes and the Blue Devils unbeaten coming in to this contest. With that, we welcome you back to Lawrence Scholl Veterans Memorial Coliseum alongside my broadcast partner Kevin Cantwell, Jason Patterson with you. We roll on, and Coach, this is the culmination of a lifetime of preparation.
It is. It's a big day for both teams, and hopefully it'll come out good, but it's a good day. It's a really big day for these kids.
Talk about some of the individuals that we're going to be watching in this one, the players we keep an eye on, and you want to start by talking about Duran as our Riddle and Riddle player to rely upon.
The smallest player on the court, and she'll be the most relentless person on both ends, and we'll remember her after the game is over, I'll tell you.
She's certainly the leader of this Golden Tornadoes squad. As we flip over and take a look at the leadership for the Maiden Blue Devils, you highlight Culliver.
And she's an inside presence, and she's an excellent passer, so if you're going to double team her, she can pass out of it.
Kiara Culliver, our player to watch, brought to you by Riddle and Riddle. Those are the players to rely on. We turn our attention now to your keys to the game. This is the Ingles food for thought. What's it come down to, Coach?
Well, Fairmont presses the whole time, so they have to create turnovers, and they have to share the ball when they get it offensively. On the other end, stay out of foul trouble and make shots.
Making those shots goes a long way toward
making shots in the championship game is hard.
Long way toward making it a
hard.
championship moment. 4A title going to be handed out momentarily. You will see the Golden Tornadoes collide with the Blue Devils on the other side of the break here in Winston.
The broadcast stream of these championship games is brought to you by Tip Top Roofing, Faith Family Roofing.
Blue Devils are here. Maiden making the trip, the journey of, right around an hour and a half in order to get the job done, making it here from down around the Hickory area. Of course, they tangle with the Fairmont Golden Tornadoes, who made a 2.5-hour journey from the North Carolina-South Carolina state line, just west of Wilmington, down on the border in the eastern part of the state. The champions out of the eastern part of the state, ready to roll. The Golden Tornadoes of Fairmont and the Blue Devils of Maiden. And we are ready. It is going to be tipped and controlled by the Blue Devils. Golden Tornadoes will set up defensively to begin things. First possession to Maiden. Happy to have you with us for a women's title game now underway.
It's very important because Fairmont really presses. They really get on top of you. They get really over you. You have to protect the ball.
Quick contact and an inbound coming from the side as Willow Bass is set to trigger it. Willow Bass, one of the junior guards on this squad. We introduced you to Culliver, the senior leader, a four-time all-conference performer who wears jersey number 10. They'll try to get it in her hands early and often, no doubt about it. Here's Ava Anderson with it from top near the elbow. That was a shot from Culliver. She took the first look, was not to be. Here's a look at the starting lineup. The Tatum and Atkinson starting lineup for the Golden Tornadoes as they bring it up the floor for the first time. You see the surrounding cast here, Coach, alongside of the individual you highlighted a bit earlier. What do you watch for on this first possession?
Right now, they're in the zone defense. They're going to try to stop it from going inside or drive into the basket.
Nair, Duran, Foul, Brady, Smith, leading this crew to the charge.
Both teams are well coached. They share the ball. They play really good defense. So I'll give the edge to Maiden in the game because they have 3 seniors and Fairmont has 1 to start. But that doesn't, it could be something down the stretch. But both teams are very similar.
Just from experience standpoint, you're saying. And
exactly.
That tells you we're looking deep to find something that separates them, 2 teams that are evenly matched in this 4A title game. First look from 3, and that's number 3, Duran, who tried it. Doesn't make contact with anything, and it's going to be Maiden basketball once again. Once again, our starting lineups brought to you by Tatum and Atkinson. Going to be Rembert, Anderson, Bass, Dula, Culliver on the Maiden side of things. And Culliver, who we highlighted, there's a look at the surrounding cast. Thanks to Tatum and Anderson, sponsors of our starting lineups. As if you're injured in a car wreck, call the heavy hitters at Tatum and Atkinson. It is Ava Anderson on the floor. It is Tatum and Atkinson that you want to make sure you see when you have a need. They are sponsors of our starting lineups.
Full court 1-2-2 trap. I get a feel for what Maiden's trying to do. Right there is not a good place to pass the ball.
And here's a takeaway. Now almost. Bass had a hand on it, but not able to push it forward, and it stays with Fairmont. Coach, what do you see early?
Well, Fairmont's got to have an offense. They're not doing anything but pass it around. I wonder if they were ready for the zone because it seemed like they're cutting everybody through.
And this one pulled down by Dula.
That's a good move. That was a good shot. Drove north to south. That's what you want to do. Now, Anderson's only a sophomore. She's a solid player.
Still plenty of time to grow into her own as well. This from the other elbow, top of the key. Dula tried one. Remember Haven Dula, who came over. She's the North Carolina, South Carolina All-Star Game participant, was a County Player of the Year. All-star performer all the way around. Her shot won't go. Nothing will. We stay scoreless. This can happen in the early stages of these championship games. You're in a different kind of gym. The length of the floor is a challenge, as we talked about. Depth perception is a challenge. There's so many hurdles you have to overcome just to settle into the state championship environment, and you're seeing a little bit of that here, Coach.
And the first one is you got to make a shot. As soon as they make one, it'll break the ice. And individually, it's the same thing.
This floor says something. They're hard to come by. Ava Anderson's shot rims out. The name Anderson means something to you in Maiden. We'll talk about it as the game goes along.
Yes.
It's just what you would suspect. The Anderson family connections and crew.
So there's no cut through. They're going to stand out and just shoot. If they're going to do that, they have to make some shots.
A rebound away to Culliver. Looking up the floor. Rembert has it. And now a long 3. That was from the top of the Wake Forest logo and not to be. Closing in on 4 minutes. Neither team able to find the twine just yet. Very different start. The first game we had today, both teams scored on their very first trip down the floor.
They need to start putting kids girls in the corners.
Here's another long 3, and that's a third time that Fairmont has fired away from distance without making connection on anything, and it's going to be Maiden basketball. Timeout on the floor. We'll take it as well. Wading in to the state championship game in Winston-Salem. Our broadcast presented by Riddle and Riddle Injury Lawyers continues after the break. Well, fans enjoying themselves as we give you a glance at our Original Grills fan cam. Elevate your grill game with Original Grills, showing you some fans from both Fairmont, North Carolina and Maiden, North Carolina, colliding with one another for the 4A championship. Golden Tornadoes and Blue Devils visible on the Original Grills fan cam. There's a look at the Fairmont Golden Tornadoes huddle. Coach, both these teams talked about their defense in the press conferences, that the defense and the approach defensively is what has led them to this point. Well, I think we could suffice it to say it's been the defense is shining so far halfway through this first period, and we're still looking for the first bucket of the game.
Yeah, someone's going to break the ice here.
There's a little of that defensive pressure on cue,
well,
provided by the Golden Tornadoes.
Well coached, put the people right there to break the press.
Anderson with the basketball.
Ava, she's only a sophomore, very mature. Good tough play.
With feet inside to Culliver.
That's tough. She's the one.
Just a little bit off the mark. Here comes McNair with it. Lyric McNair, speaking of only a sophomore, that's her situation as well, the all-conference performer.
You know, Maiden stopping the transition, go try to, they stop transition, they're back to do that. Now it's half-court defense.
From the corner, another three that misses everything, and that's been the story for Fairmont in this first period. Maiden with it. You talk about Anderson, the calm with which the sophomore brings them up the floor. She'll stop, try to pop from three-point land herself, won't fall.
She could have drove right to the basket there with her left hand.
Lid on one bucket, and this team trying to find the other bucket right now. 2:45 and ticking downward, no score.
Now, I do say this, the building has something to do.
It does, has a great deal to do
when you
with
shoot 3 air balls in a row.
Well, that finds the iron out of the hand of McNair. McNair, who's got a UNC Pembroke and a UNC Asheville offer, as she is just a sophomore receiving those offers as an all-conference performer. Inside and just off the fingertips of Culliver.
There's that passing from inside.
Top of the key where Rimbert connects on a three, and our first points on either side coming with just over 2 minutes to play from Reagan Rimbert.
That was a good pass by Culliver inside.
Comes as a Paramount Auto three-pointer to get us started. Blue Devils looking for more. Trying to go on what would be piecing together some buckets to make a run early. Bass puts it on the floor. Thoughts related to another three, won't go. Trying one from deep, and Bass will knock it down. Willow Bass a three, and a couple of trays have Maiden out of the gate first.
Whoever makes shots is going to win. They're taking long shots.
Maiden Blue Devils with a couple of three-point baskets, and now a takeaway. Slow it up, and it's going to be a tie-up. Possession arrow is going to keep it with the Blue Devils. So they say really good defense from McNair there as she forces the alternating possession arrow to go into effect. Take another look at her job getting back there, Coach.
Quickest jump ball I've ever seen in my life.
Off the inbound and just off the mark, Rimbert's shot. She connected on one earlier.
They stopped them from going to the basket. They're doing a great job, man. They're not letting them get to the basket.
1 minute to play in the opening period, and the Golden Tornadoes trying to find something to put on the scoreboard. And a foul just before the shot of Duran. Aaliyah Duran, another of those sophomores. You know, Coach, the Golden Tornadoes have a pair of sophomores handling the basketball alongside a freshman and a junior and a senior in the starting lineup. So a well-rounded yet somewhat young group here.
Yeah, that's what I saw, but I was that's why I say that Maiden starts as 3 seniors. But now I'm looking at the sophomore. She's mature.
She's the ball handler.
She runs the show.
Ava Anderson, a calming effect on the floor. And that's tipped aside by Dula.
Fairmont just has hit one shot. Just break the ice.
Haven Dula, you saw there disrupting. You mentioned she's the county player of the year, was Western North Carolina All-Star. Will play in the North Carolina-South Carolina All-Star game. With a senior forward. And there it is. Maiden Going to bring it inbound after Fairmont has their first bucket of the game toward the end of this first quarter. McLean getting the job done. Now a second trip, this one just off the mark. To the interior, where they would like to utilize that all day.
Yeah,
Culliver open underneath.
That's their game. That's their whole game. To get it into her in the half-court set.
8-2, the advantage for Maiden.
It's a good shot.
Al comes across after snatching that rebound, but cannot get it to fall ahead of the horn. Well, it took to the 2-minute mark of that first period for either team to score. Maiden ends up with an 8-2 advantage after one as these two 4A combatants settle in. Our broadcast presented by Riddle & Riddle continues in a moment. Four combined field goals on 25 attempts between these two teams. As we give you the numbers, brought to you by Arthritis Knee Pain Center. Those are our Arthritis Knee Pain Center stats. Relief without surgery or opioids. That's Arthritis Knee Pain Center, sponsors of our numbers. And obviously, we'll also show you the ready-to-roll garage door points in the paint. Raleigh's garage door experts. Check them out today. Ready-to-roll garage doors. Just a couple of points apiece, just one bucket apiece in the paint so far. Coach, what do the numbers tell you in this one?
Well, Fairmont's going to have to do something against this zone defense. They're just standing outside shooting threes. If that's what's going to happen, they're going to, they're taking what you'd say are not bad shots, but they're all threes. And they have to figure some way to get the ball inside of the line. And the problem is,
Lyric McNair, who had the only points in the first quarter, has the first points in the second quarter as well. Lyric McNair with all four for the Golden Tornadoes early.
when you shoot threes, you're not going to have any offensive rebounds. To score anyway, you might get an offensive rebound in the scoring position.
Well, and remember the first three they tried, we talked about the depth perception in the building sometimes being a challenge. Didn't connect on anything, so there was no chance for a rebound. Here's Ava Anderson on the other end. And coach, her father, Dan Anderson, on the staff, her grandfather, Danny Anderson, 800 wins in his career. And you know the story, and those of you who are familiar with that area and that region of the state, and the trend just continues. She's a special player. There's an answer on the other end of the floor by Fairmont, and all of a sudden the second quarter is a completely different script.
hit the jump shots, score points.
Fairmont Kia of Asheville going to be a little more involved, it would seem, here in this period. Paramount Kia of Asheville, of course, the sponsors of our three-point baskets, and you can check them out at www.paramountauto.com. And just like that, from one quarter to the next, where nothing's falling, suddenly everything's falling.
Well,
and although Anderson's shot was left a little short, Culliver's there to clean it up and finish.
Don't go to half court.
Whatever score we end up with, it may be hard for folks to believe that we were sitting at 0-0 with 2 minutes left in the first. Settled into the championship environment now, that's for sure. Here's another look at the out-of-bounds call. You see she stepped out just before getting rid of it there. Maiden will have the inbound. Here's Bass. Coming on for the Golden Tornadoes is Amaya McClain. Amaya McClain working her way on. And there's McNair again. McNair with the work that's been done for the Golden Tornadoes thus far. Man had the three-pointer. She's had everything else. And there's Ava Anderson. Yeah, we talked about it. Dad on the staff, grandfather who was Danny Anderson, and Coach talked about it. He said, Coach Danny Anderson, Coach Terry Rogers in our part of the state, those two were like Dean Smith and Mike Krzyzewski where I come from, he said. And to have been on his staff during those days and carry that over, it speaks to what Coach Stephen Hensley is doing with this Blue Devils squad under the shadow of giants.
Exactly right. Andy Anderson, I go back to Appalachian days at our camps. They were all up there. All the Andersons. I know them all. I was over there talking to them.
Well, and you know a little bit about Dean Smith and Mike Krzyzewski as well. Those comparisons are true. You played against all of those guys and were great friends with them all. Here is a turnaround for Bass. Won't go. And McNair, who's been impressive. They got to try to
score right now. Because if they could score in a half court, that's for sure.
Goes to work.
Good.
The sophomore high off the glass. How about Lyric McNair in this first half? What a sophomore sensation she has proven to be.
Exactly. She's putting a lot of numbers. But if you're going to score, try to go in transition so you don't have to face the half court defense.
Marcus Thompson's 27-2 squad coming to life now. And within one possession, that's snatched away and then swatted away. Kamaya Smith would have none of it. Golden Tornadoes to work. Again, under the direction of Marcus Thompson. This squad has just evened it up at 14 apiece. Maiden is a school known more for its football history by many perhaps than the basketball prowess. A couple of touchdowns on the board both ways right now. We were tied at 17 in our earlier game. We're tied at 14 here, and a foul is called as Culliver went to work.
We're going to see a lot of that. Go inside the Culliver, and if they start to double team her, she's a very good passer too out, but she's the one they're going to go to. Very well coached team. He does a great job.
Headed to the line for a see-through construction free throw opportunity. See-through construction, your contractor of choice, Outer Banks. Listen, Coach, we were talking before the game with some of the Maiden folks, and they said, yeah, our football history incredibly strong, but you'll never believe how this community has embraced this women's basketball squad this year. Boy, have they ever, and you said it, Stephen Hensley, impressive with what he's done. Remember, this is a team coming in unblemished at 28-0.
He's done. You could just tell him. He's trying to slow him down. He knows he's a little, he has something, he has to cover, take their athleticism. Slow him down a little bit.
And spend some time coaching with Danny Anderson, as we talked about, part of that coaching tree. Yes. He's a Maiden guy through and through, grew up in the area and knows what it means.
That wasn't a good shot. That was contested. Shouldn't have waited on that.
Working it forward for the community. That's a little bit off the mark. It's safe to say, though, both teams look like they're settled in now.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Now it's a game.
Everybody feeling good about the state championship environment here in Winston now.
Now they forget about where they're playing. Ooh. Ooh.
Just into the hands of Ava Anderson.
They're all over them. They're not going to call fouls. If they're not going to call fouls.
Swatted away. Sophomore goes to the deck to try and hang on to it. And that's going to be an over and back as Anderson slid across the timeline to try and save possession. pestering defense from Fairmont and some shots made on both sides. We're now in a one-possession basketball game as everybody is settled in here at Lawrence Joel. More coming your way. Our broadcast by Riddle & Riddle Injury Lawyers continues from North Carolina in a moment. At the intermission, we'll have the Air Experts Heating and Cooling Halftime Report. Special interview with Q Tucker, Commissioner of the North Carolina High School Athletic Association. First half highlights, a whole lot more coming your way. Air Experts, schedule your tune-up today at airexperts.com, sponsor of today's halftime show. We'll also have the Akeem Anastapulo play of the game. And don't scream, call Akeem. The reminder, dial 800-ALL-7s. Sponsoring our play of the game. Well, we got some candidates for it here in the second quarter after a bit of a slow start in the first period from a scoring standpoint. You know, 8-2 was the score at the end of one. These teams have combined for 20 points in this second quarter, and there's still 3.5 with which to work.
Now, Fairmont hasn't shot a foul shot yet, but they have not driven to the basket to create fouls either.
Driving here, taking the three, just rims off for number 3, Aaliyah Duran. Duran, one of the sophomores, all-conference performer. She also has a UNC Pembroke offer. Culliver doing good work inside throughout. They go to the senior again, and Kiara Culliver, the 4-time all-conference performer, 2-time all-Catawba selectee, is good for it down low, Coach.
That's a senior looking up the court, passed the ball up the court, and threw it to a senior.
Said those seniors, the experience level when you get into the state championship environment, such a difference maker. Weaving through. Sophomore's been pretty impressive though. McNair can't do much with it here, and it's going to stay on this end of the floor. Last touch by Maiden. Substitution coming as Layla Grady is back into the contest, and Smith is going to take a seat. Of course, Kamaya Smith, the freshman and all-conference performer. She's got an offer from Fayetteville Tech, taking a breather right now. Has a bright future in this game. Boy, what a job to disrupt that. I mean, all-out effort by Ava Anderson.
She plays a lot older than she is.
Dula.
And they've been stopping transition the whole time.
Too much disruption from Amaya McLean. And now McNair through the air. Won't work out. She does come away with the basketball though. That's the side of the backboard. And Reagan Rembert just making sure Maiden hangs on to it. Toward the bucket goes Willow Bass, and she'll draw contact.
It's a good move.
Shots coming.
She knew exactly what she wanted to do. It's a good move.
2 for 2 in the free throw department. The only 2 that have been shot so far today by Maiden.
Like I said before, Fairmont's not getting to the line because they're just not going to the basket in the half-court set.
Those, of course, were made by Culliver. And now it's Willow Bass at the charity stripe for the see-through construction free throw. And it goes down. 3 for 3 to get things started from the charity stripe. You know, I've been impressed today, Coach, how well some of the teams we've seen really shoot these free throws. And that's important. Critical part of the game when it comes down to the wire.
Yeah, and they're probably a pretty good shooting team, too, but in this building, it doesn't turn out that way.
A little tough.
But usually if you can shoot your foul shot, you're not a bad shooting team.
Well, Bass, broadcaster jinx in effect as it comes back out. And here's Culliver as she tried to put it back. We'll go to the line where she made the first 2 free throws of the day for Maiden.
She's everything in the offense for them. She's the inside presence. And
6-foot senior center, Kiara Culliver, at the see-through construction free throw line. She'll knock down the first, a perfect 3 for 3 on the day in that department. Here is Amelia Beal coming into the game, a junior guard. Bill was selected the Farm Bureau Sportsmanship Award, 1 on each side. Kadijah Hunt the other. So Kadijah Hunt and Amelia Beal on their respective teams selected to receive the Farm Bureau Award for sportsmanship prior to the contest. Congratulations to those two. And Bill into the game right now for Maiden.
they're trying to do something here to attack this zone.
94 seconds to go. And a big time 3. How about this? Amaya McClain knocks down the Paramount Kia of Asheville 3-pointer. Paramount Kia, you can check them out at ParamountAuto.com. And a reminder as we get a whistle and a foul call up top on Grady that we're moments away from halftime. Air Experts Heating and Cooling halftime report coming your way. You'll meet Q Tucker, Commissioner of the North Carolina High School Athletic Association. We'll have highlights and stats, all that and more on the Air Experts halftime report. 1 and change left to go in the second. You know, if someone had just walked into the building in the second quarter and seen these teams score 15 and 13 points respectively, they would never know what the opening stanza was like.
You know, Maiden hasn't committed a foul yet. They have not committed a foul. But that's all. It's not the officials or anything like that, because that's the way Fairmont's playing, not being aggressive downhill.
It's the way they're playing the game.
Yeah.
The Blue Devils, no whistles against them. You know, you mentioned our officials. We haven't talked about them yet today. We'll do that if we get a chance here. On the backside of this shot, there's a great one. Boy, nice outside look, knocked down by Keziah McClain. Called Amaya McClain's name. Here's Keziah McClain. You probably guessed it. The freshmen are twins on this Fairmont Golden Tornadoes roster. What a family connection.
Played for the last shot. Very well coached.
Holding for the final
No,
30. Not going to do it after all. And trying to get in there was Anderson. She'll go to the line. Well, as promised on that whistle, our officials are out of the Northeast Association. It is Stephen Lassiter, James Mercer, and Courtney Williams, with Tim Dowdy, the alternate, handling this one again. Stephen Lassiter, James Mercer, Courtney Williams, out of the Northeast Association, honored with the opportunity to call the 4A state championship game. Congratulations on this group doing a nice job today. And there's the first of the see-through construction free throws that will fall. We'll also select the player of the game, brought to you by Riddle & Riddle, before the conclusion of this one. A candidate on the line right now. Stay tuned for the player of the game, brought to you by Riddle & Riddle. Maiden out front, 23-19 with 19 seconds to play in the half. That was a 3, rainbowed up, nearly fell. It's off the rim, and they scramble for it in the heart of the lane. Going to be a tie-up. Possession arrow will send it the other way. Possession arrow with Maiden.
That girl got kicked in the face.
Oh,
in the
yes,
face.
you're right, Coach.
I saw the foot go up.
And down
Right in the face.
on the deck is Haven Dula, a little slow to get up. Everybody was in there scrambling for the basketball. And remember, Haven Dula is such an important piece of the puzzle for the Blue Devils, the senior power forward who's an all-star and came over from Hickory. Take a look, Coach, is exactly what happened as they tried to go for the basketball.
The foot goes up. See that foot? Ooh.
Yeah, that's tough.
That foot quarter.
And Haven Dula going to work her way over to the bench. Receives a nice hand as she walks there under her own power. You hope certainly all is well for the senior. All right, and inbound is coming for Maiden. Blue Devils going to have 10 seconds to work with here. Up 4.
Take care of the ball.
Anderson looks up the floor, and that was disrupted by McNair, last touched by McNair. Maiden will have the inbound on the side, 4.5 to play in the half.
Whoever gets it goes to the basket.
Neely Campbell into the contest, one of the seniors, a different role this year,
Go.
having really embraced it. Gives it to Anderson, back to Campbell. She'll have to fire away from three, just too deep. And it will be a 4-point advantage. Hey, that sounds familiar. A 4-point lead at the half. It's what we saw in game 1 today. It's what the Maiden Blue Devils enjoy here in the 4A title bout. We got the halftime show brought to you by Air Experts Heating and Cooling coming your way when you return to Winston-Salem.
You're watching the Air Experts Heating and Cooling Halftime Report. Air Experts. Schedule your tune-up today at yourairexperts.com.
Well, hey there, everybody. Thank y'all so much for tuning into the State Championship High School Basketball Games. Joining us is our longstanding partner all the way from Ingalls Markets, Miss Melissa Level. Melissa, are you loving these excellent basketball games?
I love it. What a great season it's been, and the best of the best is right here now on television.
Best of the best is right. Now let's talk about that longstanding and robust partnership between Ingalls and High School Championship Athletics. What all does that entail?
It's just absolutely wonderful to be able to connect with all the schools within our region. You know, we're in 6 states, and so we have Friday Night Lights with football, we do basketball, we have softball, even some Olympic style sports, and we go all the way up through college, and then of course some minor leagues. But we just love that high school spirit and the fun with that. A lot of those players work with us. A lot of their parents have a shop at our Ingalls, so it's kind of like a big family coming to watch all of them play, right? So we love that.
We'll love it as well. Melissa, as always, thank you for taking the time to speak with us here today.
Thank you.
All righty. Let's get back to the game, folks.
You're watching the Air Experts Heating and Cooling Halftime Report. Air Experts. Schedule your tune-up today at yourairexperts.com.
Championship week is always a special time for high school athletics in North Carolina. Joining us now is NCHSAA Commissioner Q Tucker to talk about what this event means for student athletes across the state. Commissioner Tucker, Championship week is finally here. What does this event mean for the student athletes who have worked all season to get to this stage?
All of the teams that are playing this week are regional champions. And so they entered this week as already a champion. And now they're trying to, put that cherry on the top, so to speak, and go home with a state championship.
This year's championships feature 16 games across 8 classifications for both boys and girls. What went into the decision to structure the championships this way?
A couple of years ago, the membership voted to amend our bylaws so that you could have no more than 64 schools in a classification. Now, it would have been very easy to stop at perhaps 6 classes, but at the rate we've been adding new schools, we would very quickly needed the membership to amend the bylaw again so that we could have more than 64 teams in a class, or we'd have to go ahead and have more classes. So the recommendation to our board of directors was that we go ahead and go to 8 classes, and that would give some flexibility in terms of adding new schools.
How does that expanded format create more opportunities for schools and student athletes across the state?
Because we have more schools that are getting into the playoffs than would have ever been in the playoffs, and they're able to make a deeper run. And that's exciting for those schools as well as for those communities.
For many of these athletes, this is the biggest stage they've ever played on. How does the association work with schools to prepare them for moments like this?
They needed to know, where your team will unload and how you get into the arena, what your dressing room situation will be like. Lawrence Joel Coliseum will be the largest arena they have been in for some of them. And so we just try to make sure that all the nuts and bolts are in place for the coaches to be able to share with the athletes.
When the final buzzer sounds on championship weekend, what do you hope every student athlete walks away remembering about this experience?
We want you to play hard. We want you to play to win, but we want you to do that and have fun so that you walk away and you think, we won, it was great, or we were runner-up, but it was great, and I had a great time with my teammates. For some of them, it would be the last time that they put on that high school jersey because they're seniors. So we want them to go away with those memories that will last a lifetime.
Commissioner Tucker, thanks for joining us, and congratulations to all the teams competing this week.
Thank you very much.
You're watching the Air Experts Heating and Cooling Halftime Report. Air Experts. Schedule your tune-up today at yourairexperts.com.
Halftime report continuing from Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Fairmont and Maiden in the 4A title game, separated by just a couple of buckets in this one. It's been a very entertaining first half. In fact, worth taking a look back at some of the moments to remember from this first half of action. And Coach, scoring was a little difficult to come by in the opening stages. It took 2 minutes remaining in the opening period before we had our first bucket of the game. But once they started scoring, both teams showed a great deal of comfort.
Exactly. Now Fairmont staying outside and just continuously just shooting threes, that could show up and not be a good thing at the end. And Maiden's going in and out, but they're going into into their power right now. They're going inside a little bit.
How about these two young players as well, the sophomores? Ava Anderson on one side, and there you see Lyric McNair on the other, both making their presence known in this contest.
Yeah, both play in college, I'll tell you that right now. And Anderson is just a ball leader, and she's tough.
And there's McNair.
She goes to the basket. There's the person that's going to the basket and get fouled, but she's got to try to do it.
Same thing on the other side. Here are the numbers brought to you. Arthritis and Knee Pain Centers, the presenter of these numbers we're watching throughout things. What jumps off the stat sheet at you?
It's going down a field goal percentage again. Fairmont's going to shoot threes, all right, because they're not breaking that zone. And then at the same time, Maiden's got to go inside a little bit, and they're going to shoot threes, but they're going to Culver a lot more.
Arthritis Knee Pain Center, relief without surgery or opioids, sponsors of our statistics. Here are the points in the paint. They're brought to you by Ready to Roll Garage Doors, Raleigh's garage door experts. Call them today. Ready to Roll showing us that that part of the game's been even, 8 apiece in terms of points in the paint. Well, 23-19 our score at the break, third quarter up next in the 4A championship game. Our broadcast presented by Riddle and Riddle Injury Lawyers, set to continue with the balance of this one coming up in a moment. Beautiful Winston-Salem, North Carolina, and Lawrence Joel Veterans Memorial Coliseum, site of the North Carolina High School Athletic Association State Championships. We appreciate you joining us on our broadcast, presented by Riddle and Riddle Injury Lawyers, all across Sinclair stations in the Carolinas and beyond. And it was Maiden carrying an advantage of 4 into the third quarter. First possession going to belong to Fairmont. Let's talk adjustments, Coach. What do these two teams need to do?
Well, Fairmont ran a play against the zone and got a three-point. I want to see what they do. They have to run some plays instead of standing outside and just throwing it up there.
Fairmont known for their defense. Of course, their kind of pressure can make anybody crack. But right now looking for an offensive possession here and then give that D a chance to set its tone. It's an impressive group, of course, under the direction of Coach Marcus Thompson, who is also the AD. He talked about how blessed he's been with a group of players that can slide their feet, play strong D, but also know how to find the hoop. Trying to do that here on the opening possession. It'll stay with his Golden Tornadoes and then eventually rim off, and Anderson's got it to head up the floor with it.
That wasn't a good possession as far as getting a good look.
Anderson looks ahead, and there's a whistle and a foul call. As you get one more look at this sequence, here you go, Coach. Bass was trying to put it on the floor, and it's Duran called for the foul, and that's a third personal on Duran.
That's foul trouble. You don't want her in foul trouble.
Going to depart now, and they will bring Amaya McLean, one of the McLean twins, the two freshmen that are outstanding, both of them standing 5'7" for this squad. She'll come in as part of this defense, and Anderson working around it, but she'll see the front of the iron, and that's all.
They get back quick, and they stop transition, which is tremendous. They really do.
Of course, Maiden unbeaten on the year at 27-0. 28-0, check that. And the Golden Tornadoes with just a couple of setbacks at 27-2. Here's an answer on the other end. Guess what? Just like that, 1-point basketball game. That's the value of those Paramount Kia of Asheville threes.
Now, Maiden will stay in that 3-2. As long as Fairmont's just going to take jump shots.
They'll take them if they can make them, that's for sure. Here's a foul down this line, the right side.
And down the stretch, it's hard to make those things.
Yeah,
the threes,
can get tougher. Here's Dula, who was attacking. Remember, Dula was a little shaken up earlier. She's the one that took the foot to the face on the scramble for the basketball, so it's good to see her back out there, and she heads to the line. A Tatum and Atkinson free throw. Injured in a car wreck, call the heavy hitters, and Tatum and Atkinson. Of course, thus far in this contest, he has looked on as Dula and company have built an advantage that is now ever so slight. Dula, who's in the scorebook for the first time with her work at the Tatum and Atkinson free throw line, and she's a player they expect to get going here in the second half.
The Maiden's just daring them to shoot the threes. That's it.
From the corner, and that's off the mark. Going to be right into the hands of Reagan Rimbert. Rimbert had the first points of the game. Remember, she hit a three with 2 minutes to go in the first quarter to start the scoring.
It's a good pass out. That was a really good pass.
And tapped out. Boy, that was nicely done in the interior by Kamaya Smith. Another of those freshmen. Well, and they're fighting for it.
Tough.
It's finally put back by Culliver.
That's a tough rebound. Tough 2 rebounds they got there.
Kiara Culliver, the senior again. She was our player to rely on coming in. She's a 4-time all-conference performer, 2-time all-Catawba selectee. You can see why.
Maine's just challenging to shoot the 3. They keep moving back.
Plenty of movement for the Golden Tornadoes here.
They do not want them to drive to the basket. And what Fairmont's got to do is drive to the basket.
Well, they take the shot from outside. Guess what? Into the hands of Rimbert again. This Maiden team that play with the... I think the word that Coach talked about this week was an intentionality with which they play. He said, you know, the way they play defense, certainly pleasing to him, but the identity they've come into, the fact that they've discovered who they are and have played to their strengths this year, Coach. Not a lot of teams know how to do that, but he praised his team for playing to their strengths. That was one. Didn't have the end result they wanted, but Culliver has been so good at that today. This team has put together an undefeated season to this point because they've relied on what they're good at.
Exactly, and she's good at what she does. What I like about her, she passes the ball so well on the low post.
he says about this Maiden team, it's not a me team. It's a we team, and you've seen that with the lead they built. But Fairmont, the same formula and recipe coming right back at you. And the Golden Tornadoes close it up to 1 bucket now. With a whistle and a foul call as Anderson was trying to drive. And again, that's going to be a whistle on McNair. Third personal her direction, so a little foul trouble to keep an eye on with both her and Durant. And there's a foul call, which will take us to break.
I like it.
At 3:54 to go in the third, an attack of the bucket that you heard Coach say he likes. Golden Tornado staying right on the heels of the Maiden Blue Devils with a 4A title on the line. Unblemished Blue Devils are here on the Original Grills fan cam. Elevate your grill game. That's Original Grills helping you get that done, and they're the sponsors of our fan cam. Get a look at some of the fans on both sides. The Golden Tornadoes well represented. Part of that Blue Devil contingency. From Maiden again. Maiden, North Carolina, down around Hickory, just southeast of it, about an hour and a half southwest of here in the Triad. And a 2.5-hour journey to make it onto the Original Grills fan cam for those who made the trip from Fairmont. The Golden Tornadoes coming from down around the North Carolina, South Carolina line, west of Wilmington, in that Catawba area. It really is quite a journey to get here. You know, we could talk about 2.5 hours from down on the North Carolina, South Carolina line, east of here for Fairmont. You can talk about an hour and a half kind of to the south and the west of here for Maiden. But the journey's so much longer than that, Coach, because it's a lifetime of preparation to make these moments possible.
That distance doesn't bother them, yeah. The journey's a lot longer than that.
Tatum and Atkinson, free throws, handled. Tatum and Atkinson injured in a car wreck. Call the heavy hitters at Tatum and Atkinson, sponsors of our free throws. And you said it early, Fairmont had not been able to get to the line. Now they do, and you look up, and with that good work at the line, all of a sudden, it's a brand new contest.
You have to do that. They were relying on the three-pointer. It goes in, we win. And now she's taking it upon herself to go to the basket. She did it herself. Will
it be one of those trips to the basket that stands as our Akeem Anastapoulo play of the game, perhaps? Don't scream, call Akeem. Dial 800-ALL-7s. The Akeem Anastapoulo play of the game will be selected before the conclusion of this one. 26 all. Something about these 13 divisions, right? It was 13 all in the first half at one point. It is 26 all now with 3:54 to go. And that's from a guy who can't do a lot of math. In the third period of action, here's a look to take it away with plenty of that pressure. And you hear the fans get in behind it. They love that intensity defensively.
Right. You know, the worst thing to do when you get, that was a man-man double team. Stop dribbling, pick the ball up, and pass it. Just somewhere open.
Little advice from one of the best. Here's the kick out top. Nair's direction. Sophomore has been impressive. She leads everybody with 15 points. Culliver has 12 on the other side. to lead the Blue Devils. Of course, Culliver, the senior, McNair, the sophomore. We've talked about how well Ava Anderson, the sophomore for the Blue Devils, has handled the ball. These young players have been impressive. Number of young players for Fairmont. Here's going to be a traveling violation, so it's going to go the other way. You know, you love what Coach Marcus Thompson said about his group. He's going to bring Dial back into the game here. As Jada Dial is back into the contest, one of the seniors. She's got a Cape Fear Community College offer and is committed to play for Cape Fear Community College. Speaking of the young players, taking it right to the rack was Ava Anderson, and she draws contact on the other side. I thought wow. We'll take another look at this and walk us through it, Coach.
She went right to the hoop, just looking to get fouled. That's her fourth foul.
Number 4 picked up. Remember, we were talking about a couple of players with a trio there, and Ava Anderson goes right toward it, and Anderson off the mark on the first of the Tatum and Atkinson free throws. Into the contest is Keziah McClain, as Duran will now take a seat after picking up that 4th foul.
That really hurts.
Marcus Thompson going to his bench.
It really hurts.
Loved what he said this week, Marcus Thompson. He talked about you know, how blessed, excited he was for these young players and the way they've come together and built such chemistry. And he said, we're enjoying the ride. We're making it a point to enjoy the ride. Love it when you hear a coach say that. Sometimes you have to make coaches remind them to enjoy the ride. He's a guy who's challenged his team to do that all along the way, as he should, as it's been quite a ride for his Fairmont Golden Tornadoes.
Right now they're really, I say confused. I'm not sure if they have a play for this, but
well, he'll instruct them. He talks about how well this group has got along with one another, taking instruction from him. You don't get here without those type of approaches. Maiden with the basketball, 27-26 the lead, just the free throw separating them now. Anderson with such skill and grace. She goes to the hoop. Ava Anderson lays it home. The lead is 3.
They let a really good screen there.
Remember Ava Anderson, we told you in the first half, for those of you that weren't with us, her granddad, Annie Anderson, 800 wins. Her father, Dan Anderson, on the staff, a part of the staff in this scenario. Think about the history of it all. 3 generations of Andersons playing in the state championship environment for this Maiden squad. It's been quite a family commitment, connection, and again, the head man, Stephen Hensley, a guy who's under the tutelage of Coach Anderson for a period of time and speaks highly of his impact on his life. That's going to rim out. Certainly likes what he's seeing from the sophomore. It's in her hands again now.
Just staying on the perimeter and live with those jump shots.
Maiden up 3. This would double it, but that's front of the
iron. That was a good shot.
Big rebound into the hands of McClain. Here comes Amaya McClain. Coast to coast she goes. And the freshman, one of the twins, one of the McClain twins, lays it in. Just like that, a 1-point game again.
It was one of the first transition buckets they've gotten. Maybe we get back.
Tried to go inside to Culliver's, top the key. Just off. Let's do this shot here.
Go down.
Boy, tried to save it, but it's into Culliver's hands. Culliver slows it up, back into Anderson's grasp.
Fairmont needs to push this ball and not face that half-court defense. We need to score in transition. Do something to get a better shot. Maybe get fouled. Here comes the screen again. Yes.
Inside the final minute of the 3rd. Disrupted. Dula tried to put it back, wouldn't go. She's fighting in there, has it blocked away, but it stays with the Blue Devils.
They're tough. But again, they're seniors. You know, when you have 3 seniors going off the ball, you have juniors. It
makes a difference. Will it be one of those seniors selected as our Riddle and Riddle player of the game? We'll have the selection of the player of the game. Will it be one of these young players making their mark and shining in this contest? We'll let you know in the 4th quarter. Our Riddle and Riddle player of the game selection is coming your way. When justice counts, Riddle and Riddle, sponsors of our player of the game.
Fairmont's got to find a way to score points. You know, they're just, if they stay there against the 3-2, they're going to keep shooting threes, and you can't go on hope they go in. You can't coach on hope. You know, you don't want to coach with it. So they have to try to get to that better through transition. Fast break, go.
What do you say about this team this year in terms of that they do what they're asked to do? He said, this is a group that has done what they're supposed to do.
Yeah.
I loved his quote. He said, when God gives you ability, you go out there and do what you're supposed to do with it. And this group has. And he's looking for them to do that across the final 35.8 of the third and into the fourth quarter here. They've closed it up to 1. Coach giving you a formula for how they can have some success, but it's Maiden's basketball right now.
Right.
And the Blue Devils hanging with it. Here's a 3-ball. Just off the mark. Rimbert tried it. She hit one of those earlier today. Guess who's there to put it back? Culliver. Culliver again, the leading scorer on the Maiden side of things on the score sheet. She now has 14. Firing up a 3, won't go. That rims off, but into the hands of McLean. Running out of time in the third, just ahead of the horn. It's like she realized and found another gear. Lyric McNair, the sophomore who has been the leader, beats the horn to make it a 1-point game.
They got to make it. They're struggling to score, right? And she made a shot that right at the buzzer. Great job.
Not anymore. It's that way early. You know what happened in the second quarter. What does the fourth hold? The sophomores leading them in many ways in a 1-point contest for the state title. We welcome you back to Winston-Salem with the Arthritis Knee Pain Center statistics. Arthritis Knee Pain Center, relief without surgery, or opioids. What stands out off the stats for you?
Just the shooting. I mean, to get more than 3-pointers, Fairmont's got to do that. Aiden's playing a nice game right now. You know, this is the last quarter. It's got to be about making shots. It is.
Look how even the points in the paint are as well. 28 points split right down the middle as we glance at the ready to roll points in the paint. Call Riley's Garage Door experts today. Ready to roll, tracking our points in the paint. Fourth quarter for a championship game underway. And Maiden will carry a 1-point lead, looking to put the finishing touches on an undefeated season. Their hands full with the Golden Tornadoes of Fairmont right now, though. Came in 28-0. Coach Stephen Hensley's squad.
I'm not aggressive.
Dula, held quiet in the scoring department today. No longer the senior Haven Dula with a bucket to start the fourth. The lead is 3.
So they don't struggle to score all their points. That was an easy basket. Not an easy basket, but it was a close, high percentage basket. Here's Fairmont shoots another 3.
That was the first field goal for Haven Dula. May come as a surprise to you. Came over from Hickory High, the senior who's been one of the key leaders along the way this year, an all-star performer. If she gets going here in the fourth, that would spell trouble. This spells trouble for the Blue Devils. Take a look at the energy with which Fairmont's playing. Now, coming down with the basketball and losing the handle, it's going to be a traveling call that will keep it with Fairmont.
But Anderson was right there to get that rebound. That was nice. She ran the full court.
That's another look at the entire sequence at the end of that. Thought the layup was going to go. Fairmont now looking for something positive to happen. Instead, it's going to be Maiden basketball. Well, fourth quarter starting reminds you the quote we snatched away from Marcus Thompson, the head man of the Golden Tornadoes. He said he told his girls, at the end of the day, you're going to be what you want to be. You want to be a champion, you work toward being a champion. At the end of the day, you're going to be what you want to be. Who's going to be a 4A state champion in this one? Will it be his school or the Blue Devils? There's a 5-second call. Nice job for his crowd covering everything here, and it's in essence a turnover.
Now they have to get a shot. You know, they're Duran in there, one of the best players. You know, they need her in there so bad.
You're right. The 4 fouls she's been sitting with, one of the key storylines of this game.
And she can get extra baskets different ways, not threes.
Here is Keziah McClain with the basketball. Goes back to McNair. It's been the sophomore McNair. She faces everybody with 17 points right now. This 3-ball that is connected on by Keziah McClain. Well, if it's not the sophomore, it's the freshman. This time it's a Paramount Kia of Asheville 3. Tied at 33 with 6 and change to play. We were tied at 13, tied at 26, tied at 33.
That wasn't a good shot by Anderson. They need, you know, take their time. They have
it just became a 6-minute basketball game for a state championship.
That's exactly right. Well, like I said, Ava shouldn't have shot that ball at that time.
Well, sophomore, as you said, plenty of time. They, in their careers, will continue to grow. They've been impressive leaders in this one. We talked about Lyric McNair, the sophomore on this side of things, in her hands right now. She's got offers from UNC Pembroke, UNC Asheville, and they'll keep rolling in as she grows and develops the all-conference performer. She had the only points of the first quarter for this team. She has the most points on either side with 17. It's in her hands right now. Now gives it over. Brady was dribbling with it. It's back out top to McNair.
You know how to penetrate that. If not, they're going to shoot a 3. You know, this is where you have to make shots if they're going to shoot it.
No shot clock, obviously, so as long as it takes for Fairmont in high school, just a reminder for those of you at home to say, well, how much time do they have? As much as they need, at least up to 5:20, which remains in the basketball game. There's a movement around the top.
And if you get a lead, guess what? You can stand there and hold the ball.
If you
then the team comes out.
You're in jeopardy of the 5-second call. That's the one thing you have to watch. But when it comes to hanging on to the basketball, if you can do it, it's allowed. Back out top again to McNair. What a possession this has become. Kind of puts the magnifying glass on what happens here as we dip under 5 minutes to play.
Now, if Fairmont was up 1, they could stand out here and hold it. 2 walk.
And a traveling call just ahead of what was a made 3. Tuck that one away in the back of your mind. That's a key moment in this basketball game. Particularly after that extended possession by Fairmont right there. So at 33-all, it's Blue Devil ball.
Fairmont goes up 3. They can come down here and not face that zone. Tell them, come on out. You got to come get us.
Not the case now. Stop and pop. Ava Anderson puts her team back out front. The third-generation player in the state environment for that Anderson family picks her spot and puts the Blue Devils back ahead.
You know, she's a very, very aggressive person offensively. I can tell it right now. I hope she doesn't try to do too much here at the end. Because she took a bad, I thought that shot, you have to make the defense play defense.
She just took a really good one right there.
Right, I know she'll do that, but is she going to continue? She took this one and the next one. Hopefully she calms down a little bit.
She's got 11. She becomes the second player in double figures alongside Culliver on the Blue Devils side of things. You loved what Culliver was able to do earlier in the interior as well. That's a weapon they have down the stretch.
And that's what I'm saying. So, you know, Anderson Ava, she has to understand she has a player inside too, and she took a NBA 3 when she came back. Play defense for a while, and they'll break down, maybe get to use the bucket.
That's the adjustment in your mind for the Blue Devils. Make Fairmont play defense, take smart and wise shots. What's the adjustment down the stretch in this fourth quarter for Fairmont right now? What do the Golden Tornadoes have to do if they're going to come out on top on this end of the floor?
You have to go to the basket a little more. You
want to see them attack.
Someone has to attack. This is where they need to run in the game.
And that's what McNair has done a good deal of here and there along the way. She becomes critical to sophomore on that side as well. 35-33, 4:37 to play in the 4A title game. Here come the Golden Tornadoes.
And they'll keep Durant out of the game as long as the score is this way. They'll keep her out.
Yeah, with the 4 fouls.
Yeah, they'll keep her out.
Of course, McNair has 3. Keep that in mind. She's the only other player on either side in any kind of real foul trouble. She's also the leading scorer with 17. In her hands now. 4.5 left in the 4A women's basketball season in North Carolina. And that rattles down. How about this from Layla Grady? She connects on a Paramount Kia of Asheville 3. And the lead to Fairmount after all the surge from behind throughout this one. Fairmount playing from out front and a little too strong on that pass. And dancing around on the far side is Marcus Thompson. He knew the spot. His team was in right there. Fairmount has pushed ahead with the lead mid-fourth on this key Paramount Kia of Asheville 3. Quite a finish shaping up in 4A. What a season it's been in 4A. Comes down to shots like this, and this one, an impressive one from Grady. Think about that. The Paramount Kia of Asheville 3. Coach, combined, there have been 8 threes in this game, and that 6th one for Fairmont today put the Golden Tornadoes out front.
And they've been shooting them, and they have to go in. They're going in now, and this is a great quarter for them to go in.
All right, it's going to be Maiden basketball. Blue Devils, if you're just finding us, trying to complete an undefeated season under the direction of Coach Stephen Hemley. They came in 28-0, and Coach Hensley and company getting ready to roll into the final 4 minutes of this contest.
What I like to see here is right there, Ava, give the ball up, share it a little more, and play. And then if you get a shot, get a shot. But she needs to share the ball.
She's doing it right here. A lot of ball movement this time, and Anderson, who has been impressive in this one of a couple of double-digit performers on that side. Here's Fairmont on the move. Nice control to lay it home for Keziah McClain. It's the youngsters, the freshman McClain, the sophomore McNair, who've been making the difference. And here's a big block. Actually going to be a foul call. Smith thought she had cleanly blocked that. Would have been another freshman heavily involved right there for Fairmont. And the Golden Tornadoes faithful letting their thoughts be heard. They had a different perspective on this.
It's a tough call. It's all ball. But that's it. And it's all right.
And Smith going for the block there instead. A chance at the line for Culver, who knocks down the first of the see-through construction free throws.
Again, Anderson gave it up 2 times in a row to
and Tiara Culver, Coach, already with 15 in the contest, make it 16 as she is true on those free throws. Culver today from the free throw line is a perfect 6 of 6, and her team is right there within one.
That's right. Ava does not. She has to understand there's other players on the team. You know. Here we go. Now, they do not have to take. They do not have to come out. I mean, have to shoot, move.
3:01 with the lead, and timeout being called for as Coach Thompson suddenly in this spot wanting to talk over strategy with his team. What did he say? He said, we're a team that's enjoying the ride. He talked about how blessed he is to have the different contributors he has, and how this is a group that they get along with one another so well. Not only do they get along, they take instruction so well. They have that never say die approach and attitude. And Coach, they withstood early success of the Maiden Blue Devils, and they find themselves right now in control of their own destiny with 3 minutes to play in the 4A title game. Take us inside that huddle with what kind of things Coach Marcus Thompson is saying to his group.
First of all, what's amazing is they have not played their game. I just tell by they're shooting threes. You know, that's not the way they play. And you know what? They've not gotten down.
Well,
they have not gotten down.
And he's been without Durant for a period of time.
Exactly. And if they got down, this score could be different. But right now, I'm wondering if he'll come out and make them come out and out of that zone. If they come out of that zone, then is Maiden going to be able to contain them, to stop them going to the basket?
A program that he has led to get better each year. He talks about how he wants to stay consistent and how that consistency has made the difference. Well, here's a team that's been consistent all year and on the ropes right now. You take a look.
Durant's in the game now.
At Durant coming back into the contest with 3 minutes to play. Again, playing with 4 fouls. McNair playing with 3.
I would not make them come out. Make them come out.
Group that known for the way they play for each other. At the end of the day, they can be what they want to be. They were told by their head coach. They're 240 away
now
from
here
being
we go.
champs, perhaps. Here comes McNair.
Man to man.
Maiden.
I wouldn't play him that
extending
far out. I would not play him that far out.
McNair. And straight up and down, Culliver tried to stay, but she will be whistled for the foul, and Culliver is picking up just her first of the contest. Nobody in any foul trouble on the Maiden side of things to this juncture, and that's, again, a first on Culliver. Big time free throws brought to you by See-Through Construction. First one goes. See-Through Construction, your contractor of choice on the OBX. See-Through Construction free throws. Duran sits. She comes off. Dial with her. Getting a breather here for personnel changes. 2:27 to play. The See-Through free throw will not go. So from the line today,
Maiden needs to get a good shot.
3 of 4 as a unit. And that's going to be a traveling violation. It will go the other way. Fairmont up 2 with the basketball. And an inbound coming from McClain. This, of course, Keziah McClain. You saw Maya McClain along the way. The 2 freshmen. So many of these young players having to find their role in the high-stakes environment that exists. Reagan Rimbert is going to be whistled for the foul here. That's her first personal. And that's
they're not in a 1-1 yet.
Third team foul there. 2:12 to play. Across the timeline, taken away by Dula, who slows it up, puts it up, and rolls it home to tie the game. 39 all with 2 minutes to play.
Oh, they did it again. Got trapped in half court.
A tie-up, and the possession arrow will keep it with Fairmont.
You could not bring the ball over half court or throw the ball unless you can go all the way to the baseline. Just don't throw it.
I'm going to tell you what, when you're where these young ladies are with everything on the line, each decision so tough, 39 all, 150 to settle it. Let's sit back and enjoy the joys of this championship environment.
Maiden's going to sit back in his zone. I would go out there.
Again, not playing with the lead now, so at some point they would have to score. Under 95 seconds to go.
She's just going to get tired.
When will it be go time for the Golden Tornadoes, controlling their destiny right now? 4A title hanging in the balance.
It's tough.
And there's the leader on this day, McNair. Shot won't go. Blue Devils now with a chance.
Take the time to go good one.
At 1:10 to go. Timeout called for by Maiden.
Well, I know what I want to do. I want to go inside to get that ball inside.
The question would be
right
at what point? 1:10 left to play. Take us inside these two huddles right now. You've got a 28-0 Maiden Blue Devils squad and a 27-2 Fairmont Golden Tornadoes squad, both right now in a position to believe the title will be theirs.
I would not hold a ball for them. I would go after it offensively because they play hard defense. I'm not sure they can hold a ball against them for any length of time. I would just play and get it inside.
Culliver has 16 to lead the way. Anderson also in double figures with 11. On the flip side, McNair leads all scorers with 18 for Fairmont. Those have been the individual performers that have made a difference, but this is about a community championship.
Got to go inside.
We were tied at 13. We were tied at 26. We were tied at 33. We're tied at 39 with 1 minute, 10 seconds to play. And the journey that, as we said, is so much longer than the couple of hours car ride from Fairmont or the hour-and-a-half car ride from Maiden, all comes down to this.
If, Maiden has an inside presence. If you have an inside presence, then you want to use it. Most schools don't have it, but they have it.
1 and change to go. They'll try the three. Off the mark. Rebound to Maiden. Blue Devils. 3-ball from Anderson. Won't go. Put back. True. Culliver underneath with the putback, leading the Blue Devils with under a minute to play. Here comes Fairmont. Blue Devils back out front.
You live by the three. If you live by the three, you might win.
40 seconds to play.
Yeah.
And timeout called for by Coach Thompson. What a 4A championship game we're witnessing here at Wake Forest University in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. It is far from settled.
Well, we've sat here and watched Fairmont play the whole game. They haven't done anything against the zone except shoot threes. Guess what's going to happen here? They're going to sit in the zone. Unless someone wants to drive, McNair can drive to the basket.
McNair has attacked at times.
Only once or twice.
18 points to her credit, and almost all of them in the paint. So it's going to be interesting to see what she decides to do. 34.9 left to go. Here's a look at the bucket for Culliver underneath. How about the senior when it counts, Coach?
Great passer.
You get the three look from Anderson, but here comes Culliver.
Big time play.
Big board,
that's a
big
winner.
putback, and you saw the bench celebrate. Will that be a state championship winning bucket? Time will tell with 34.9 to go. Reminder, stick around. When everything's said and done, we'll have the trophy presentation. We're going to hand out superlatives, our player of the game, our play of the game. So much coverage coming your way from Winston, but this is the moment you've been waiting for. Settle in and enjoy the final 34.9. McNair
have to move quick
to inbound. That's Duran back in there now with the 4 fouls.
Wow.
You heard his surprise.
He's done so well. The zone's done so well.
25 seconds.
Right there, I want to shoot 3 with us.
Into the hands of Dula. And now the foul of Anderson, who's hard to the deck.
Good
and with 17.4 to play after the Blue Devil takeaway, Maiden will try to salt things away. And you saw who had to commit the foul right there. That was Duran. It was number 5, and Duran will have to depart. Here's another look at the entire sequence. Tried to work it inside. They were hoping to get Dial available to put something up, but Maiden read it and snuffed it out.
That's good coaching.
And then there's the 5th foul picked up by Duran.
She had a tough day.
Difficult day. Duran 5 fouls. She ends up 1 of 7 from the field, 3 points for the player that was a sophomore all-conference player. She's got an offer from Pembroke, got a lot more coming. She's one of those 2 sensational sophomores for the Golden Tornadoes in the starting lineup. But it's a little bit of tougher hill to climb now, particularly if Maiden can salt this away where it matters at the free throw line. Wow, 17.4 to play, and a Culliver putback on the last trip down the floor. Right now, the difference in the contest. Remember how difficult scoring was at the start in this one. You had a situation where nobody scored until 2 minutes to go in the opening quarter. Both teams lit up the scoreboard. 17-15 was the split in the second, and now here, 10-9 the separation in the fourth, and with the game being tied coming into it, or right at that, the separation on the scoreboard is just 2. A bucket by Culliver on the putback. Here's a long toss. Culliver lays it home. She's got an and one chance coming to perhaps put the finishing touches on it. The last 4 points belonging to Kiara Culliver.
What a call. That was a great call. That was a back screen set by Anderson. Anderson sets a back screen, and she goes down wide open.
Drawn up by Stephen Hensley off the inbound. Well executed by his Maiden Blue Devils.
That did it.
Perhaps this maiden voyage for this girls basketball team in this 2026 state championship game at 4A is going to end with an undefeated crown. They're in a good spot now.
Yeah, they're sitting good right now. It's too bad. It's too bad, but you know, not having Durant all game, and she's the one that could not shoot the three. She'd get in there, drive in there.
Big difference.
And she missed half of the game.
Yeah, big difference without her presence. You hear Coach say it. He said it toward the end of that first game. Always tough for that team that ends up on the other side of this. It's looking like that's trending Fairmont now, but there's still time left with 14.9 to play. And you said it in the first game. We can hear it in your voice again. It's always tough for that team that's done so well. They're either an East or a West champ, but only one team can finish this off, and Maiden is in a good spot now.
In a game where you lose, where you could win either way. That's what this is. In a game for this, either way.
Always seems to be
tough.
that way in these championship environments, more often than not.
Go to the basket.
Here's McNair, who's been outstanding. They're thinking about the deficit now and firing up a three. It'll hit nothing, and this should allow an inbound for Maiden to seal it. They're on their feet at Lawrence Joel Veterans Memorial Coliseum in Winston-Salem, those wearing that Blue Devil blue. As Maiden is now a half second or so away from a state championship. Well, we said it, all the football prowess over the years, a third generation Anderson, you know what that family and that coaching connection has meant, and what a year Stephen Hensley has put together his 28-0 Blue Devils. With one more inbound, are your state champions in a perfect campaign in the 4A ranks. The title's going back to Maiden, North Carolina, a place known for its athletic prowess over the years, has the latest championship. This women's team, embraced by that community, puts together a perfect campaign.
They played a solid game. They really did. They are well coached, solid game.
It was tied 39 apiece in the final couple of minutes of action. The final is 44-39 as Kiara Culliver scores the last several, leading this Maiden Blue Devils squad to a perfect championship. We'll be back to wrap it up, have the trophy presentation, and a whole lot more coming your way in a moment from Winston. A basketball memory to go alongside all those football memories for Coach Stephen Hensley and the Maiden Blue Devils. And what a moment, putting the finishing touches on a campaign that really the only word that you can use, Coach, when you talk about this campaign for this year is it was the perfect season.
It was the perfect season for us. We had a fantastic conference. North Lincoln's playing tomorrow for a state championship, and we got to play them a couple times. And I think that made our team battle-tested. And I can't give enough credit to this Fairmont team. You know, this was a team that a few years ago had a winless season, and their coaches turned that program around. And just one of the toughest defensive teams. We were held to 44. No team has done that to us this year. That was an outstanding performance by them. But our seniors, Kiara Culver and Haven Dula, I don't know if Haven had many points, but it really counted when she did. And this just was a great team effort, and we're just so proud of these girls. The first time ever in the history of the school to make it to the finals, and then to win, it was just icing on the cake. In my last game, I'm retiring at the end of this season, which I guess is right now.
You got it.
Yeah.
What a way to go out. And, you know, we said it, your name is appropriate, a maiden voyage. That's one to remember when all is said and done. Your team was tied up here in the last couple of minutes. What did they dig deep and find? What did we learn about this team today across the state of North Carolina?
This team they fought so hard all year long from, the season began in October through our training camp. And, we had East Lincoln, North Lincoln, Hickory, the teams that we've played. And we were never out of any games. We were, we had one time we were down 8, and we were down 8 against East Lincoln in the fourth quarter. So our girls have been in situations where being down or being close at the end of a game, they don't get into panic mode, and I think that was what was the difference here at the end.
You sat there in that zone, and you just sat there, and I was going, stay in it. Then you're down, you're up 2 at the end, and you came out, and luckily you didn't want to stay in it. But you just challenged them to shoot the 3, didn't you?
We really did. And they shot the 3 better than we thought they would. But they have 0 and 3 are so good off the dribble that we just knew our best chance was to stay in front of them, slow them down in their transition, and stay wall off. And luckily we did a really good job of staying out of foul trouble.
Really good job.
And the zone worked for us. And it was just about to be the wrong call.
Well, Coach,
last question.
Yes, sir.
Who put in the last thing out of bounds play over there? Who put that in?
Keywan McDaniels. That's always a part of our inbounds play. We said, hey, the only shot that we want to have left is a free throw. Unless we get that.
That's good stuff, Coach. You got a title to celebrate. We're going to turn you loose to do so. Congratulations. What a way to go out.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. Appreciate it.
There's the head man of the Maiden Blue Devils celebrating a championship. And what we said is a perfect season. And, Coach, you put all the pieces of this together for what we just witnessed here. He calls it a career. Adds a basketball memory to all the football prowess, takes them on a maiden voyage that ends up being a perfect championship season. It's storybook for this Blue Devils squad.
I wasn't ready for that, were you? He retired. I finished. This is my last game. Okay. I tell you what, he did a great job, and he's right. Both coaches did a great job. It just came down to a few points,
Let's take a look at our play of the game. This is going to be our play of the game. So many to choose from in this contest, but our Akeem and Astapulo play of the game, well, guess what? A couple of looks from the outside, but in the interior there to clean it up and put it back was Kiara Culver, the difference maker down the stretch, and the senior leader gives us our play of the game. And Coach, that was the moment that the tie was broken, the 39-39 tie. And it ended up being a 44-39 finish because of the points she scored down the stretch. She had all of the points that served as a separator, and as a result, it should be as no surprise that Kiara Culver is our player of the game, brought to you by Riddle & Riddle.
She deserves it. She's patient. She didn't take any bad shots. She didn't get upset because she wasn't getting the ball. She played a beautiful game. Beautiful game.
Easy decision. She had 11 rebounds and 21 total points for a double-double. And, Coach, those 21 points in the end, because of the few she scored down the stretch, paced all scorers on both sides.
Unbelievable. Her offensive rebounding did it all. That's where she got it. Offensive rebound put backs. She didn't score off the dribble or anything. He's put back, so did a great job.
Tremendous history for this squad. They're being handed their medals as we speak. Let's give you each name. Reagan Rembert, Ava Anderson, Willow Bass, of course, Kiara Culliver, who you just saw there, Haven Dula, who came over, was a big contributor. The role players on this squad: Olivia Shook, Amelia Bill, Yasmin McLean, Amaya Broom, Liz Campbell, Lamaya Fife, Neely Campbell, Caitlin Hensley, Madden Hensley, Alyssa Gowdy. A number of these players that took different roles this year, embraced different responsibilities to make it a championship year, and it ends with an image like this.
It's tremendous.
And what a job he's done along with his staff. He called their names. Coach McDaniel, Coach Anderson we talked about, Coach Dawkins, Coach Andrews, the trainer, Jillian Herman, and Bass, who handles the stats. So many individuals come together to make a moment like this possible. And to the principal, Brian Hefner, and the AD, Kane Hauser, congratulations in order, because what they found in Stephen Hensley in this run in 2026 results in a championship.
Yeah, you know, the seniors come through for you. If you have a bunch of them, you have 3, 4 of them, they can come through with it.
Well, it's what you talked about at the start of the contest. You said you look at these teams, they're evenly matched on paper. Can't be much more even than a tie game down the stretch. But you said the senior experience could pay off, and in Culliver's case, it certainly did.
Yeah, I say experience. It might not be basketball. It's just experience of their size. I mean, your growth, you're just living. You know, you're bigger. So it's a cumulative of a bunch of things, but
perhaps even a little calmer when all is said and done. In those moments where the heart's beating a little faster and the clock is ticking downward, they certainly embrace that moment.
Exactly.
And a championship is going back to Maiden, North Carolina as a result. You know, they took care of Xander Central, North Lincoln, also in the state final, as Coach mentioned. Number 1 in 6A at the time, at the Classic earlier this year. So many key wins, none bigger than this. Time to hand out some of the individual accolades. Lyric McNair was everything you could have wanted out of the sophomore.
Excellent, excellent.
Ended up with 18 points, also had 5 assists, a couple of blocks and a steal, and she is the most outstanding player for Fairmont.
And Coach mentioned that he didn't think they could play them off the dribble, so that's why he was in that zone. He mentioned that. He says, no, I don't think we could have played them off the dribble.
Yeah.
He didn't.
Tremendous respect for Fairmont. And a player on the Maiden side of things getting the accolades as a standout is Ava Anderson. Handled the ball well, did the sophomore. She's got a tremendous bright future. She's a third-generation player in the state championship environment out of that Anderson family, and she's certainly a player to keep an eye on moving forward. I think you probably have an idea whose name is about to be called as the Maiden Blue Devils await the announcement of the MVP. Of course, this MVP honor named for Kay Yao, so beloved here in North Carolina.
Is from Maiden High School. And it's number 10,
On cue, Kiara Culliver, who scored the last 5 in this contest and led everybody with 21 total. The senior is the MVP for the Blue Devils. Boy, Coach, what a basketball game.
She's a winner. You know why? Winners go in and get offensive rebounds.
And don't mind it when the brightest of lights are on.
Good winner. Yeah. That was a really good game. That was an excellent game.
Our pleasure to bring it your direction. A reminder, a couple more coming your way today. Full day again tomorrow as North Carolina championships roll on. Let's look at the numbers one more time from this contest brought to you by Arthritis Knee Pain Centers. Coach, those numbers pretty much tell the story.
Yeah, I'll tell you, the rebound is what rebound 41 for Maiden and 27. It really came down to that at the end.
That one rebound was a difference maker.
It really does.
Arthritis Knee Pain Center, relief without surgery or opioids. That's Arthritis Knee Pain Center, the sponsor of our numbers in this one. Also, we kept an eye on things in the paint. Our ready to roll garage doors, points in the paint. Call Raleigh's garage door experts today. Ready to roll. 24-16 the split for Maiden when it mattered most, and you know how many of those came down the stretch and what a difference they made. Well, a big thank you to all of our sponsors making this broadcast possible. Riddle and Riddle Injury Lawyers, Air Experts Heating and Cooling, Tatum and Atkinson, See-Through Construction, Ready to Roll Garage Doors, Arthritis Knee Pain Center, Hakeem and Astapulo Law Firm, Paramount Auto, Tip Top Roofing, Original Grills, and Ingalls Markets. All our sponsors making it possible. We say a big thank you. And to you, the fans, we say the biggest thank you. You're the reason why it's done. And they have made the big time. What a maiden voyage. A perfect season for the Blue Devils.
It's time to shine. Get your game face on, 'cause this is the big time.